If you are also working on getting out of debt, then you know how monumental it is to make $100 or $200 extra in your monthly budget or your yearly budget so that you can throw it at that debt that you're attacking. And that is exactly what switching from Verizon to Mint Mobile did for me. If you have been thinking about switching to Mint Mobile and you want to hear from a real person who's not being sponsored by the company, then this is the video for you. Hi, my name is Kirsten or Kit, and this is my personal finance channel where I talk about going from $50,000 in debt to combining my income with my partner, and then both of us taking our debt, mixing it all around, paying it off, and then working towards financial independence. Okay, so I guess before I get started, I need to talk about the hammering that's going on in the background. We are renovating the current place that we're staying right now so that we can live rent-free in Florida. We just moved. I talk about that in a separate video, but my sweet, sweet, lovely partner is in the other room putting down laminate flooring. So he's banging that into place. We're hoping to move the bedroom from here. I can show you. We're kind of sleeping in the living room as a studio apartment right now. So we're hoping to move into the bedroom before baby is born. We've got a lot going on, but that is the beeping. And let me just also put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Wow. Okay. Let's do this. Before making the switch from Verizon to Mint Mobile, I really didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that I was paying way too much for my cell phone service every month, and especially considering how financially irresponsible I was being with my debt to income ratio. But when I finally started the uphill battle of crawling myself out of debt, I was listening to personal finance YouTubers like Debt Over It with Layla, and then especially Choose FI podcast. And in both of those series, they mentioned on several episodes Mint Mobile. And when I heard about it, I knew that it was something that I wanted to look into for myself. Both of those sources had mentioned Mint Mobile and the incredible savings that they're getting with the service. So it took me a few months to probably just continue paying for Verizon every month, which you'll see how much I was paying. And it just took me a while for the switch to actually be made, but I'm so glad I did. If you need some encouragement from a real person who's just trying to maximize and optimize their finances in each area of their life, who's not sponsored in any way by the company, then just use what I have to say to move yourself in the right direction and save some serious cash. So here, maybe I'll put it over here, is a screenshot of my monthly bill for Verizon. I was on a plan with 4 people. It was my partner and then my sister and her partner. And the total is $255.46. And that's without the discount that I received. I think it was like 20 bucks. Because I was an employee of a local university a few years ago, and then we never told them that I left, and so it just stayed on the bill, of course. Per year for me, I want to point out, I'm here somewhere that, oh, I should probably block out the phone numbers, huh? I'll do that. And if you just do a little bit of math, my number times 12 for 12 months of the year would be $690.72, which is insane. Needless to say, I finally made the switch to Mint Mobile, and when I signed up, there was a promo going on for 3 months of unlimited data for $15 a month, and I think they're still doing that right now. I know that they were when Bradley switched in October. I signed up for that, and then after a service fee, it totaled $54.13, and that is per 3 months, and so per month it breaks down to $18.04. So with Mint Mobile, then I signed on for a yearly plan at 15 gigs a month, and that deal was $240. The unlimited trial period ended, so that's when I bought that, and that was November 2nd. I used about 10 gigs a month when I was on the unlimited plan, and it showed me how to track that. I can put up a screenshot here. And after all was said and done with fees or taxes or whatever they take out with the $240 a year, it was actually $263.34. Here's the savings difference per year and month from switching from Verizon to Mint Mobile. With Verizon per year, I was spending $690.72. and with Mint Mobile, $263.34. The total savings is $427.38, and per month that savings is $35.62. And bottom line, that's the big takeaway here. What could you do with $35 extra a month? You could throw $30 towards your debt that you're currently working on, and then buy yourself a $5 coffee to celebrate. And honestly, if you just wanted to know the savings between Verizon and Mint Mobile and you're ready to make the switch anyways and just needed some encouragement, you can stop watching this video here. But I do have a few considerations and perks when doing the switch from specifically Verizon to Mint Mobile that you can listen on and hear about here. And the first one is referral bonuses. So Mint Mobile has referral bonuses, and right now the offer is you get $100 and your friend gets $15 when they buy any 3-month plan after switching from another cell provider. So right before I signed up is when Brad was transitioning out of the work that had him questioning switching service. Once he saw me do well with Mint Mobile service for the trial run of almost 3 months, we decided to take the savings further and switch him from Verizon to Mint Mobile as well. And the only drawback is that Brad switched a little bit too late for me to benefit from him giving me the referral credit of $100 this year, because I bought a yearly plan because it has the most savings instead of buying 6 months or 3 months. I bought that plan a little bit too late. So the referral credit was gifted to my account after about 2 weeks, but I do have that $100 credit for next year when I plan to renew in November. And this means for the entire year of 2025, my service will not cost me that $260. It'll cost me $150, which is $12.50 a month. That's absolutely incredible. And I will have my referral link in the description if anybody wants to switch and use it. That would be really, really cool. Let's talk about the service differences. Here is a service map of coverage where we're living in Montana. I doubt anybody is living there, but just for example, it does have some spotty coverage. And then here is a service map of Central Florida where we're currently living, and there's no gaps in coverage. The network comparison between services between Verizon and Mint Mobile is honestly really similar. We have friends with other providers, and when we're out, they'll lose service before us sometimes, and sometimes we have spotty service, but honestly, it hasn't been an issue at all. In rural Montana, there's naturally less coverage in general, just by way of topography. But I didn't have to worry about this living in Montana because I was mostly either at home or at work, and when I was playing in the mountains or somewhere more remote, I wasn't expected to have service anyways. I would have my maps downloaded and then I would just go. For Bradley, this was his issue. So he worked in more remote locations in the valleys of those mountains and had to rely on his phone service to be excellent. Not only in case a client's Wi-Fi went out and he had to make service calls or calls to the client on site, but in Montana, having service could be a matter of safety in certain weather conditions. For instance, he could be driving up a client's driveway, it could be icy, and he could slide off of the embankment and need to call for help to get himself safe or the car towed back to the road. And that's an actual example of something that's happened. And I know it's extreme, but if you do have a job where you're frequently traveling to remote locations, I would be more hesitant to do so without checking the network map to see if you'll be able to get contact with the outside world. Another thought to consider before making the switch from Verizon to Mint Mobile would be that there aren't any stores to go to, which I'm assuming it helps Mint Mobile keep the costs to the company low and then bring those savings to customers. But this is important. If you're the type of person who needs in-person tech support, then you aren't going to get it. I'm okay with that, so the switch from Verizon to Mint Mobile wasn't too bad. Honestly, I hated going into the stores anyways. It seemed really sales pitchy and just kind of gross. The major hiccup I did have was going from a physical SIM card to an eSIM that I got from an email Mint sent me right after signing up. And they do have the option for a physical SIM card. I just didn't want to wait, and they had the option for eSIM, so I decided to just figure it out. You can use the code that they email you to copy and paste it, or a QR code to scan the eSIM into your cellular settings. And then the big key here that I didn't do was to take out your physical SIM card from the Verizon carrier. It took me like a day to figure this out, and I did use the Mint Mobile chat function for some support. It was super easy once I actually did it, but I didn't know. And looking back, I would just say if you're going to make the switch, do it on a day where you don't have to use your phone heavily, or on a weekend where you can make sure you have the time to work out any kinks. Another thing to note when making the switch is that you are going to be keeping the device that you currently have. When I switched from Verizon to Mint Mobile, I have my 11 Pro Max that I'm using to record completely paid for, so there was no issue here. But Bradley, on the other hand, had an iPhone 8, and it was something that he got for free when coming onto my Verizon plan a year ago. And with Verizon, this looked like a monthly fee for the device on our bill and then a matched credit for the same amount. Because we knew that he would still be saving money with the switch to Mint Mobile, I switched his plan and then paid off the $70 that he still owed to buy the device, even though that would have been paid for Verizon. But since we paid a premium for the account anyways, it was just cheaper to switch him to Mint Mobile right away. This is an important note for those of you who are still financing your devices or tend to get the newest phone when one comes out. I haven't looked into this because we clearly don't do that, but I don't think Mint has any service where it supplies you with a phone. For us, that's no problem because I'll frequently buy an older or refurbished device from websites like Swappa, and it saves me a lot of money. I can link that in the description below. I've also bought an iPad and a MacBook there and have no issues. I know that that sounds really sketchy, but I swear by it. Just use sellers with stars and use your head. This is a good thing to note though, because if you do need to get a new device, then you want to make sure that beforehand you're putting some money aside each month, just depending on what kind of device you want to buy. When you eventually need it, then you'll have that fund to purchase the phone up front and in full, so you don't have to have the company just financing the device for you. The bottom line here is accidents happen, and it's better to be prepared, and great not to be locked into a service contract and device payments from a company. All in all, my partner and I are really happy that we have switched from Verizon to Mint Mobile, and we are just happy with the service and the bill. It's awesome to find little and big ways to save money and put our dollars to good use elsewhere. Currently, together, we have about $60,000 in debt, and we're tackling that one debt at a time. So it's really important that we aren't spending a combined $1,400 a year on our phone bills when really all we need is basic service. We can take the $900 of savings a year on our phone bill now and throw it at our car loan, which is what we're attacking at the moment.